immediately felt like it was somewhere where, it's funny, the energy in the building was quite different. And I'd applied to other drama schools, which had been a little more imposing, possibly, but maybe that's just my interpretation. I mean, at that age, you're so impressionable, and you're so kind of this. Your nerves, your adrenaline, make you very, very aware of the energy of a building, or the energy of a room, how welcome you feel, how much or how high the step is that you're being asked to step onto. And sometimes people make that transition easy, sometimes people make that transition hard, and in a way that's part of the test. And here I felt like there is a very welcoming energy, and you know, whatever happens here is fine, it's all right, you know, nothing is wrong, do your best. And that seems to me to be a really good environment to work in, is that it's not especially for a training institution, is that you want to feel free to fail, or at least feel free to move, so that not everything has to be perfect, because God knows life isn't perfect and there are rough edges, and on your way to becoming good at something you necessarily have to stumble and bump and fall and pick yourself up and dust yourself off and go again. And also just the history of the place. There was something very special about understanding, when I got the prospectus and I looked at the back, and there was a list of alumni, of graduates, and they were essentially all the actors that I'd ever respected. And they possibly weren't people who were making headlines at the time, but they were people who had made headlines for me across the course of my life. So it was just like I read Peter O'Toole, Alan Bates, Albert Finney, who I'd met, so I was just, I felt a bit special. And then as we go further down, then it's Ralph Fiennes, Kenneth Branagh, Clive Owen, Paul McGann, Juliet Stevenson, Jane Horrocks, Imelda Staunton. That was just, the list goes on and on and on. And Anthony Hopkins, you could pluck names out of a hat from different generations, and they'd all seem to be the leading lights. So I thought there must be something about this building, this place. There's a philosophy here that I could sort of tangibly feel, wanted to be part of. I was so excited. I was so excited to start. It felt like a beginning of a huge adventure. I'd moved to London. You're digging in for 3 years. There are 30 people in your class. I remember the first day we were all assembled. We were all sort of sat in a circle, and I remember looking around the circle and seeing exactly how the year had been kind of assembled, in that no one person was the same. And I thought that was an extraordinarily kind of intelligent policy, in a way, a policy of like making sure that you had different people, and it was almost a melting pot of different talent and people from different parts of the country with different backgrounds and family histories and accents. And so in my year we had sort of representatives from Belfast, Bolton, Derby, Glasgow, Swaziland, New York City, North London, South London, Wales, East Anglia, Cornwall, and then we had people who'd been to university and done lots of reading of books, and sort of who were a bit older, a bit more life experience, and then people who'd just left school, and tenors and baritones, and people who were beautiful singers and terrible at improvising, and people who were brilliant at Shakespeare and appalling at stage fighting, or whatever it was. It was this mixture of talent that felt like it was 3 years of swapping. Okay, so I'm terrible at this and you're really good at it, so how do you do that? And in a way, that's the strongest bond, is that you're so connected to these people, and you're in the trenches with them for 3 years, and it's a kind of, you're all in the chicken soup together, and you start to lose track of which ingredients have come from what, but you're all sharing, and that's an amazing way to learn, I think. I actually funded my training with the money that I earned from television work while I was at Cambridge, which is really satisfying in a way. And I remember feeling really proud of having done the work and then kind of reinvesting it into my craft in a way, that I didn't just sort of blow it on a car or something. Not that it was enough for that, but I could have bought a small Peugeot or something with my fees. But it was great to have earned some money and to be putting it back, and I know a lot of people in my year were supported, and I think that was better because it meant that it just meant it didn't feel elitist or exclusive. It meant that people from any background were acceptable and legitimate for entry to the place, and that all you needed to get here was talent, which is the really important thing. I mean, I think as the nation and the world's leading drama school, it should be, you should, as long as you're good, if you've got some kind of gift, you should be allowed to be here. It shouldn't be about money. My 3 years at RADA were completely mad in one way. It was like, it was so exciting and such hard work and so illuminating and often frustrating, but only because you're coming up against obstacles within yourself. You're being asked to do things you can't do, and it's always challenging, and it was often hard to explain to people who weren't on the journey with you quite what was going on. But you'll always have the shared experience, it's like, and I found that working with other generations of people. I was in a production in the West End, sharing a dressing room with 3 actors who were all in their late 40s, early 50s, all of whom had been to RADA. And the RADA that they attended was different from mine, but there was a sort of shared bond because we'd all been through something. I'm a buddy, so that means that I have every third year student, every third year I'm assigned a student to kind of mentor, I suppose, and I'm just a phone number, an email address, a face, with a degree of experience that they can just bounce questions at. How do I get an agent? What do I do? I've got an audition tomorrow. How do you prepare for this? How do you process that? What happened? How did you feel when you first didn't get something? Or this is what I'm hearing from a casting director. What does that mean? Or I have a choice between these 2 things. What do you think I should do? And my response is always, "Oh, what do you think?" And because my understanding so far has been the truth is different for everybody, and everyone's experience is everyone's journey through the kind of forest of it all is a kind of different one. But it's so nice. It's so nice to be someone that's independent from the school, that's out there in the world, that they can call up and say, "So I've been, under." Between these 4 walls and under one roof for 3 years, and it seems a bit different out there. So how do I square that off? And I'm kind of part of that process, I guess. I have a sort of recurring memory, I think, of very late evenings in the autumn and winter, where for whatever reason we're all still here, Nobody's gone home because something has been unfinished, or you've started, you've all collectively, a curiosity has been chased. You started something and you can't go home until you finished it. And you're all students, so no one's being paid to be here. We're just here because we want to be here, and something's happened which you think, well, if we all go home, it might not be here tomorrow, so let's just keep working. And you'll work, and you sort of end up staying until 10 or 11 at night in an acting room in Cheney Street because something exciting is happening. Somebody's discovering something. And those moments were amazing. People experiencing breakthroughs in their own talent, or watching someone learn that they could actually sing for the first time is amazing. You know, someone who maybe for 20 years has believed they didn't have a singing voice, and a singing teacher opens up some safety catch within their confidence, and they're singing like Julie Andrews, and it's an amazing thing to be part of, to experience. So I remember those moments, for sure.